Hi everyone. So today it was really rainy and I looked around for inspiration and realized that actually I have the palette for today on my balcony top. So let's paint together this beautiful 25 centimeters mandala rose garden. So all materials as usual and description box below says video, and let's starting. So for the base, I decided to go with Jewel Green, but I decided it looks and it's a little bit too light for me. So I add a couple of drops of black and created the custom color. So after that, I decided to go with all these bright colors. This will be a little bit darker when it's dry out. So I will use it plus custom color. I will create with white. So I did choose some colors that I believe I want to choose today. And yeah, I didn't decide yet at the beginning what 3D drops I want to use. So with 3D drops, you can look at the description box below this video. And let's starting with this beautiful palette. As usually at the beginning, we are looking for the center. I will link video if you need instructions how to do this. And after that, I'm making marks every 1 centimeter from the center, and I will create circle lines. With straight lines, I decided to go with 12 degrees. So I want to create like 30 spaces to work with, because I want to play with a little bit different size of flowers pattern than usually. So I need some kind of another type of marks and circles, as I said, every 1 centimeter. Once it's done, we can start. So first of all, I need to find 5 lines. So I'm counting 5 lines on next one painting marks. So I'm getting 5 marks with 5 lines between those. And I will create on second circle line, I will create the base for my flowers. And I'm doing this with my second custom column, number 2. But I may say to you, you may straight away use this column, Razzle berry. I did mix up this with white to make it a little bit lighter, but you can use just straight away. And I decided to go around with my first custom column. So a little bit bigger dots on the top. And it's almost on the space between dots we just created and our third circle mark line. And with the smaller tool, I'm walking around with the same first custom column. And you see, I'm going around and going towards my first circle line. So like a little bit long base for my flowers, rather than just classic circle one. Like that. Removing all bubbles with a needle. If you, especially with custom color, it's happening a lot of bubbles, so we need to remove those. And I'm moving around, starting from this circle line, our third circle line. And the color I'm using, it's white peach and small brush. Small, I mean, it's around 1 centimeter. So you can go different ways, but I decided to go from this third circle line, kind of inside of third circle line. And I'm just moving around and carefully I'm going towards the center of mandala. walking around my dots. And yes, this is spaces I'm using. And I'm trying to be really careful, especially at the center of my mandala, because I want to, at the end, all these lines being visible, and even maybe a little bit of green base color. So we'll see how it goes, like that. And let's do second lines of petals and strokes in our case. The color I will use, I'm going a little bit lower and playing more like between flowers. The color is Carousel pink, really interesting, beautiful color. And you see, again, I'm going really gentle at the center, just small strokes toward the center. And if green color between petals visible, it's fine, because it's kind of real garden with a lot of flowers and a lot of green color. Like that. Really beautiful already. Beautiful. Let's play over there a little bit. I want to create petals, and I will start from there. I'm passing one circle line and playing between next one, like that. So to make these flowers a little bit bigger. And I will use this bright, clean color, Fluorescent pink, starting over there and going around, going between the flowers. I'm not even, but I'm not touching my flowers just created. And yes, I'm leaving some space between the top of my strokes, because in this case I may place more dots later on, so make it really interesting. And like that, I'm going around and releasing brush at the end. I'm not going towards my pink strokes, removing bubbles. And yes, some space left, but I will place 3 drops later on, so I'm not worried about that space at all. Just leave it like that for now. And create more strokes with my first custom color. So I'm passing one line and going the same way technically. So I'm making 2 big strokes, going around and releasing brush at the end. I'm not going too deep between strokes, removing all bubbles. So technically I did pass 2 lines from the top of previous strokes. You can see this on the video, but I want to be clear. So this way I'm making the space to create like again space for the bigger flowers between these strokes we're just creating. At the same time, I'm kind of symbolizing petals of a lot of flowers in the garden, and over there I can create bigger flowers. So 5th line or next line from this one. Again, look at dimensions. The color, the same, fluorescent pink, really beautiful one. And this will be a really nice base for my next row of big flowers. Like that. So obviously we can place anything on the top only when the first layer of paint dry out. So remember about that. And now let's play around the strokes. With a smaller tool, I will create on the top of this base, kind of base for next row of dots. The color is white peach. And we can play around, but I decided to add 2 more dots from both sides with smaller tool but the same white peach color. Just 2 dots. You remember our main rule in dotting? We are placing dots as close as you can but not touching each other. And moving like that around. And once done, with small brush we will create small strokes to create like base for the flower. I will use Petal pink. I'm not going too deep, just moving around and releasing brush. And of the strokes going on the top of each other. Not going too deep. And like that. You can go with a little bit brighter color like that. But you see, because we're using so many colors, I just want to add a little bit more tones, I may say. So I did experiment with brighter tone, but I still decided to stay with Petal pink. And this color I will use for the next row of strokes. Because my paint fresh, it's not a problem. I can carefully remove this. So for next strokes, I decided to go with this color that I just experiment with. And this is Carousel pink. I'm using a little bit bigger brush, but technically you can play with the same one. I'm going a little bit, starting from this circle line you see on the video, so a little bit higher than previous row of strokes. And I'm pressing really nicely, that's why I changed the brush, because it's a little bit wider, and I can make wider strokes, because I want to create big flowers, and they will be like wider. Like that. And over there I will play the same way that we did before. I will add a couple of strokes, passing one line and going around. First, custom color. And yes, if you see any bubbles, you need to remove those. And as you see, I'm going like around, a little bit around my strokes, around my base of flowers, like that, and releasing brush. I'm not going too deep. Just making my flowers a little bit longer. So I may play with more petals, bigger strokes. Technically, I'm playing with the space on my mandala base. Like that. And next, now I can play with more strokes. I'm taking a little bit bigger brush, like it's 2 centimeters long. I see I can even use even bigger if I need, so that's why we need different sizes of stroke brushes to create different types of strokes. Starting from this space, but not too close to these pink strokes we created. And this is my second custom color. And I'm making really nice wide strokes and creating like wider and bigger flowers this way. As I said, instead of second custom color, you may use just Razzleberry. I believe this color is just clean Razzleberry. But I did create a custom color, and all measurement in description box below this video. The next one I will go with Carousel pink again, and starting a little bit lower and go nicely around. And again, I'm really careful, I don't want to go too deep at the end, so I'm just releasing brush before. And yes, we are looking at the shape of our flower, obviously, and moving around. Beautiful, really careful over there. And the next strokes, we'll create this beautiful, we'll use this beautiful color. The consistency of this paint a little bit different. I'm starting a little bit lower, you can see on the video, but I'm really careful. I'm not pressing too much on a brush. That's why I need to get a lot of paint on the brush at the first place, because when it's dry out you can see the base color. So I already worked with this paint, so I know. And removing all bubbles, definitely. And you see, sometimes I coming back second time, if I see that you can see base through the paint, even when it's fresh, I'm adding a little bit on top because I know how it works. But color is amazing, that's why I still using this. Really beautiful color. So moving forward, I want to play more with the strokes around over there, like create big flower, you know, on the big flowers like peonies, for example, roses, like a lot of petals, and they got different shape and colors. So let's play with the same technique over there, but creating like sort of petals. And petal pink, first one. I'm not going too deep, I'm just releasing brush like that. So starting from your last, first from the edge line and going like that around. I'm leaving some space between top of the strokes, you can see, because I want to add 3 drops later on. Beautiful. And let's add even more around, like creating more petals, obviously. Starting over there, and this is white peach color, the same small brush. We're just going around and releasing brush. It's kind of hanging in a space, but actually it's not, because we got this base color, not black but green in this case. It's already like a color box for us. That's why we can experiment around with petals and so on. Starting over there, I will create petals, but this time I will go a little bit around. And this will be first custom color. So you need to add a little bit space and going around. I will add 3 drops later on, so don't worry about it. And you see, I'm going over from this space, and going around. I'm not going like too deep around the base of the flower. I'm just creating these petals closer to the base of the flower, and after that I may create bigger petals and combining all these petals in one flower. And now we can create really big petals. I will use my second custom color and big brush, starting a little bit lower over there and going around, and this time really around the flower. And this way we are combining all our petals in one flower. And now we need to look between flowers. So this way we kind of can look how big petals are, strokes are, and like manage to make it a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. And one more tip, I'm really careful at the end of my flowers now. I want to all these colors be combined, but at the same time I want to this base of flower be really nice, beautiful. Let's add more strokes. White peach, the next one, because I want to kind of lighten up this a little bit. So I'm starting over there and nicely going around like that. And now at this stage I definitely like playing between flowers because I want to make these flowers harmonized, and I'm looking how much space between flowers, obviously removing all bubbles like that. Really careful. I'm not going, because it's so light this color, I'm not going too deep till the end of till the base of flower. I'm just releasing it before like that. And at this stage you need to be pretty careful because we're getting so much fresh paint, so you may wait until it's dry out. Just advice, if you are showing your movement, obviously move forward. Over there I want to create a nice flower to play with this base a little bit. For the base I will use my second custom color, and over there second line from the angle I put in my base dot. I will put 3 drops later on the top. For now I am making just paint and small strokes around. I'm using really small brush now, like 5-6 millimeters long, and with white peach I'm moving the same way as we did before. I'm using the same pattern you see on the video, small strokes around, not going like too deep around, just on the top and a little bit from both sides. So we're using similar but not exactly the same pattern, so this is why it's still interesting like that. And with a little bit bigger brush we will play around, starting with Carousel pink. And you see the base of my flower, new strokes are going a little bit lower than previous strokes that we created with white peach. And again I'm using these colors, creating these flowers because I got some space. And look at your custom color, if you don't have enough space, just create a couple of strokes only. The next one is the first custom color, starting a little bit up. And really careful, I don't want to go on the top of white peach big strokes, just between. And because I got some space, if you don't have, you shouldn't do this. I do have, that's why I'm pretty careful, and I'm using this bright fluorescent pink color, removing all bubbles, but I'm really careful. Again, I'm not going on the top of the big white peach strokes. I'm going rather on the top of the strokes I just created on this small flower. Like that. Really beautiful. I mean, I don't know. But the color palette is definitely working. Like that. We may add more over there, but for now I want to leave it to dry out. And I gonna add a little more big strokes over there to work with these big flowers to finalize those. And I decided to first of all add my first custom color. So the brush you need to use like good middle size, 2 centimeters length, maybe a little bit bigger, so you can get a lot of paint on your brush before you're making stroke to make like nice wide strokes. I'm starting from this line and I'm going around. I'm not touching obviously my pink strokes below, And this is a same color. It means I need to place more color to separate this. Even it's nicely separated with our base green color, it's still kind of not exactly too much separated, so we definitely will add more petals over there. Going the same way, I'm going around and really careful at the end of at the bottom of my flowers. And I'm trying not to touch the base of these strokes. Over there, so let some space between. Already really beautiful. I mean, I still got some. As I said, I want to add a little bit more paint over there to separate colors. I will use my second custom color because it's really dark and beautiful. And I will start from this next circle line, marks line. It's still visible a little bit. I'm carefully going around between strokes. I'm not going on the top of my pink strokes below, and really careful. Still trying to leave some space between the top of the strokes, and I'm really nicely wanna add these strokes on the bottom of the flowers again to separate this pink color. Like that, really careful. Because this base already dry out, because it's kind of not taking too much for acrylic paint to dry out, I'm removing because I've gone too wide or wild with my strokes. Like that. So now we need to wait until everything dry out and come back later on and add much more 3D drops and add much more details. So everything dry out, you see how beautiful it is. So regarding the 3D drops, over there, first of all, I decided to go with small petals and with our bright and beautiful color, this fluorescent pink, I believe it's called, add some more strokes. Love Potion 3D drop I want to use. This one. This pale gold, also it's a little bit yellowish tone, and I kind of like it on this palette, like on real flowers. And this is Heritage Rose, I believe. Also like this color, and lately I'm using this a lot, I don't know, but why not? So it's a little bit darker, that's why I want to use this one to make a like nice contrast. So let's look how it goes. And I'm planning to work with these three. All names in description box below. Really small brush and really small strokes on this space that we left, and really lightly go in between. I want to make these small strokes at the center as delicate as I can. Let's do this. Starting over there, pressing and releasing brush. But you see, because I took too much paint, it's not so delicate, so I'm removing. Because everything dry out, I can easily do this. So I'm not making this mistake second time. I'm really cleaning my brush, and after that taking not too much, pressing, releasing brush. And moving like that between my flowers. Really careful. Really nice. I will wait until everything dry out, and after that I will add 3D drops. Over there I decided to go with Love Poison. Really beautiful tone. Small strokes, small drops on it, top, like on the base of these flowers, and I'm usually using for such small details needle. You can use thin tool and making nice tails towards the center. Really nice. And over there we got really nice space. I decided to go with this gold color, and I'm putting 2 drops. They shouldn't touch each other, so be careful with this. We don't want to combine this. Some space between, and with needle I'm making this like tails around the base of my flower. Again, look at your custom painting. If you don't have space, maybe put just 1 drop, for example, like that. And we got some space over there, so heritage rose over there on top my like darker red, let's call it, strokes. And with needle I going not only between lower, but on the top I'm also creating like 2 small tails from 1 drop. That's why I'm leaving space between strokes to make it real. And with Love Poison I decided to go like that, over there and over there. I'm playing. You can even make it with paint. You don't need 3D drops for this. Remember about that. On this space I may go with the strokes, but I can't decide what color I want to add, to be honest, because it's so interesting and bright. So I decided to add 3 drops. Usually I'm doing when I don't know what the color to add. I did 3 drops. So heritage rose, and I decided to go with 5 dots from bigger to smaller. Really careful on the space between my flowers. Be careful, leave some space between, obviously, as usual. Remember, with 3 drops, the material can go a little bit wider and your dots will be a little bit bigger, so leave some space. Be careful. And like that. And let's move forward with these big, beautiful flowers. I will go with Petal Gold, I believe this color's name, and anyway it's in description box below video. On the base put in 3D drops, and after that with the needle I'm making tails towards the center, like that. Over there we still got some space. I decided to play with the paint the same way that we are playing around. It's Petal Pink. And I'm going on these 3 dots with wild peach we created, and 1 over there, because why not? Remember that if you don't have 3D drops, you can always play with the paint, just going with another color on the top, but you doing this, it should be on the top of dry out base. So over there a lot of space for 3 drops. You definitely can experiment how you want to. Over there I don't want to add anything, but I may leave it for decision later on. Love Poison over there from both sides of these pink strokes, and with needle I'm going like confirming the same size and shape of strokes this way, like that. So next I decided with the same color over there and tails. Firstly, I was deciding to go up. By why we shouldn't go with the same size as we did before, the same shape. So I created two tails, up and down. Next, I using this space definitely to replace more tree drops heritage rose over there. This will be on the base of these petals and over there between. And I'm moving with a needle, my material, and this kind of a double down on these petals. You can place firstly dots, tree drops, and after that move with tails. Like that. Still space over there. We can add more details. So some space over there also. Again, it's a lot of space that you can play with. On the base of these small flowers, I'm going with heritage rose. The same way with the needle, I'm creating small tails towards the center. With a love poison, I decided to go with these small spaces from both sides on the base of these small flowers. And with needle, I'm going with tails but going up, because why not? And over there, small brush will help us to create more strokes. The color is Carousel pink, and I'm really going mostly with the top side, the top part of my strokes. I'm not going down, I'm just playing with this space. Like that. Beautiful. And over there on the top of my flowers, I'm putting small drops with palette gold. A few things to add over there also. So I decided to move petals like that, but these two drops are just leaving these like drops. You can go with your inspiration because it's kind of some space left for you, for your creativity, for your decision how you can use it. You can go with treated drops, you can leave it without, you can go with other small petals, just creating with your paint. Why not? Nobody said there are rules how it should be. Giving you example how I did play with this space, but you can definitely decide yourself what you want to use. And over there, with small love poison dots, just dots. At the center, I'm going with the pale gold, just small one. And that's all. Hope you enjoy this video. Hope you enjoy your painting. Subscribe to my Patreon channel if you want to be sponsored such kind of videos. And yeah, enjoy your painting. See you next video. Bye.